Thank you for joining us on Polk Place. I'm Brian Lacey, and joining us from the Polk County History Center, Jamie Jameson.
Hey.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
So I got to give high fives to you and the rest of the staff. High five, high five, high five, high five. The immigration naturalization ceremony was a part of the first one. The judge was awesome. The participants were so proud.
Yes.
And it made me feel good to be a part of that and watch that go on. You guys did a great job.
Thank you. It's become a wonderful event for us, something that we truly cherish planning and preparing for each year. You know, I think sometimes we have a tendency to take our citizenship for granted. You know, we've grown up in America, we live in America, but to see people who've had to work so hard to come through to become a citizen is fantastic. One of the gentlemen at the very end was from Venezuela, and he shook my hand and he said, "I am proud to call you my fellow citizen now." It was amazing.
Like I said, the smiles, like I said, I was there for the first one, and the smiles at the end of it when he looked at him and said, "Congratulations, you're," and it was just, it was like a collective sigh being breathed into that historic courtroom. And when you think about the things that have gone on in that courtroom over the years, you think about the struggles that these people have left behind for a better life here in America. Like I said, that was a feel great moment.
Yes.
You guys were awesome.
A moment of unfiltered joy, and it was so great to have you all there, PGTV, streaming it, because we had family members that couldn't come to Polk County or who maybe still are living abroad were able to watch their loved ones become U.S. citizens. So it was a very special experience to have PGTV there too.
And if you haven't seen it, look for it on the Polk County YouTube channel. Like I said, you will be amazed, and it was a great experience. So.
Yes, sir.
So let's talk October.
Yeah.
We got cool things coming.
We do. We have some very cool things coming. The very first thing is the return of the cemetery tours. Yeah. So we bring it back in October, and it runs through April because we like to pretend and kid ourselves that it'll be cooler in October. And we're starting at Evergreen and Palm Cemetery here in Bartow. It'll be on Saturday, October 7th, and we meet out at Evergreen and Palm Cemetery, which is right there at that intersection of Main Street and 60. So, you know, you go one way, you can go into Mulberry, you go the other way, you're going into Bartow. The cemetery is right there. And we're out in the cemetery for about an hour, hour and a half, just talking about the history of Bartow, history of Polk County, and some of the significant individuals buried in that cemetery.
You ever done the cemetery tours in New Orleans?
I have not. I want to go. I hear Nicolas Cage is a featured element of it, even though he's not dead yet.
Yeah, well, but the stories that they tell, and you know, with it being right at sea level, you can't bury. So, do we have any unique stories like that?
We have some unique stories like that, especially if you do both cemetery tours. It's really beneficial. So if you do October cemetery with me at Evergreen and Palm, you'll see certain characteristics and burial styles and preferences. And then you go and do Oak Hill Cemetery with me. We're still kind of in the same time period and era, but you'll see a different type of preference of burial practices. So it's kind of neat to be able to do both and compare and contrast what you see. And some of the individuals are particularly poignant. Evergreen and Palm Cemetery, we talk a lot about some Vietnam veterans. So for that, that's very meaningful to me. I think it's one of those eras that we're starting to recognize and tell more history about, and so it's particularly meaningful. And the great thing about Evergreen and Palm Cemetery is there's a lot of what we call burial goods that are left out at the grave sites, and every time I go, it's interesting to see who's been, for lack of a better term, visited since the last time I was there, and what's been left out there. And my veterans are visited quite often out in the cemeteries.
So what else we got going on in October?
Yeah, so I'm really excited. I just found out right before I came over here that Winter Haven High School is bringing a group of visitors to the museum. So you know how every time you have me here, you're like, what do people need to know? And I keep saying, bring your tour groups. So I think it's catching on. They are bringing their foreign exchange students from the Netherlands to the museum. So we'll have 25 students from Winter Haven High School and 25 Dutch students, and they're going to come on a tour of the museum. So we're looking forward to that, because I don't think think we've ever had Dutch students in the museum before. I know we've had German exchange students and Japanese exchange students, so we're really excited.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and it just kind of serves as a reminder. Our admission is always free. We have excellent programming. We're in the air conditioning. I know I say that every time.
There you go.
But you know, if you have a group and you're looking for some way to engage in Polk County and Florida culture in general, bring them into the museum. Call me up, schedule a tour, and we'll make it a great experience for you.
As they say in the business, knowledgeable staff.
We do. We have very knowledgeable staff, plus a Bartholomew who is just a character in his own. So it'll be great. And then speaking of Bartholomew, we are going to be closed for 2 days this month. We're doing some preservation work on the building, and so we'll be closed Friday, October 20th, and Saturday, October 21st. And we'll be open again on Tuesday, October 24th for our normal hours. So if you see some work going on outside the building, just know it's part of that continuous preservation of our historic building.
Closed for maintenance.
Closed for maintenance, for your enjoyment later down the road. Yes.
So what can you tell me about Main Street? What's going on Main Street wise?
So I'm a Halloween person. I love Halloween, and I'm super excited. This will be the 3rd year that Main Street Bartow has done this, and you know, we take up an entire city block in Bartow, in downtown Bartow. So anytime that there's an event going on, we're very excited to participate. And this is the best event. It's their trick or treat on Main Street. So you come down to Main Street Bartow, grab yourself a parking space, bring the kids, and you can walk around and visit the different buildings and retailers and just trick or treat. And it's a really great experience because I think it exposes your children to historic preservation, right? Why is downtown Lakeland so special? Why is Lake Wales so special downtown? It's because of the preservation of the historic character. And when you're in downtown Bartow, that's all around.
Best day at work every year I look forward to, 20 plus years, is the Halloween when all the kids trick or treat.
Yes,
well, they
the little kids one,
the little kids, they bring them in, and the school-age kids come through the various buildings, government buildings. Plus, what's this park out here called?
Which park?
This one right out in front of the building.
Right out in front of the building.
The clerk usually sets up, and they've got
Is it the Civics Plaza?
I don't know, but that's always a fun day.
That is.
I will open up my curtains in my office and just watch all that go on, and all the little kids, you know, the happy in the voice.
Yes. Yeah. And they come in these clunky costumes sometimes, and it's just kind of fun to watch them try to maneuver around in their robot costume or their Wicked Witch outfit. Yeah.
So if we're talking Halloween, we obviously know what's around the corner.
Yes.
And as you told me, you're already getting calls on it?
We are already getting calls and emails. Yes. So the first thing to let everybody know is that we are currently issuing our wreaths for the Festival of Wreaths. So if you're interested in decorating a artificial Christmas wreath to hang in the History Center, you want to contact us. Last week was the first day to pick them up, last week Saturday, and we had like 8 people come in, like 9 a.m. They were ready to come get their wreath.
First day, really?
First day, yeah. So, but I hear our friends in the craft and hobby businesses have already gone full Christmas on their displays in the stores. So lots to pick from out there.
as we used to say in the military, full goose bozo.
Yes, Christmas. And so, so if you're interested in decorating a wreath, just go ahead and give us a call and schedule to come pick up a wreath. And they'll be due at the end of this month so that we can get them photographed and hung on the doors, which actually, I know, well, let's hang them up. Yeah. That is a lengthy process to get them all hung.
At the end of the day, how many wreaths? So you've been at this for a while.
Yeah.
What's the most and what's the least?
I think we average about 32. I think one year we had 37, and then maybe right at 30 a few years beforehand. But the more that we have, the more the merrier.
Yeah, exactly.
And we decorate the entire interior of the building for them, and then we put them on auction to help pay for some of our student programming. So it's a really festive way to raise some money.
Yeah, Brian Ilge, been with us just for a short amount of time. Took over one of our iPhones, whatever, and kind of shot it for our shorts part that you might see on YouTube, and was really cool last year. I was like, I'd never, I'd seen him, but, when I'm over with you guys, I come over to do what I do, and then
you
get out,
stop and
then
smell the roses.
Yeah,
smell the wreaths.
honestly, I never looked at it. And then I watched it on the shorts of the piece that he did, and I was like, very cool.
Yeah, and we're starting to get participation from groups that have never done it before, which is exciting. Like last year, we had a student group from Gauze Academy, I believe, and they handcrafted on their 3D or their laser printer, laser wood cutter. I don't know the technology, but they handmade everything that they put on the wreath. And so it was extra special to us because those middle school students had made it.
All right, got about a minute left. Inspire those to get involved. Right. Inspire them to come and check out the tours.
Yes, to come check out the tours, particularly the cemetery.
Or you know, the guided tours like what Winter Haven High School is doing.
Yes, so the cemetery tour, again, this is the first one since we took a break starting in April, and it's featuring our newest tour in the cemetery. So that one, to me, is my favorite. Definitely wear your hat, though, and bring your water bottle. And if you are not subscribed to our newsletter yet, I emphasize, please get signed up for that, because that's where we'll be announcing when Santa is going to be taking office hours at the Polk County History Center. I can tell you it's one date in November and 2 dates in December. Santa's very busy this year, so we actually have one date less than we did last year. So you'll want to get on that newsletter so you're the first to know, and call me and sign up to see the big man.
All right.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean Clarence Clemens from the E Street Band.
No,
God rest his soul.
It means Bartow Santa, who is the best Santa.
Always a business doing pleasure with you. Or is that a way? Dyslexia. Always a pleasure doing business with you. You didn't see that one coming.
Yeah. Keeping me on my toes.
All right. We'll see you in November then, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Polk County has a rich history and heritage, and the Polk County History Center is continuously thinking of new ways to help Polk residents experience that history. The museum's collection includes natural and cultural objects related to Polk and the greater Central Florida area that represent our history from pre-Columbian to present-day eras. The artifacts on display at the museum represent individuals, cultural groups, and events significant to the region. Located at 100 East Main Street in Bartow, History Center is open 9 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday. For more information about exhibits, events, guided tours, check them out on the web, polkhistorycenter.org, or give them a call, 863-534-4386. If you enjoyed that episode of Polk Place, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and even check out the next one.